Hey guys, my name is Ephraim Proctor. You might know me from a Goosebumps podcast, Can't Be Murder, as the Grinch. That I do with Bumps and some other guests. But yeah, so today I made a poll on my community tab, which technically Christmas book you want me to read, and most of those so far are for Beware the Snowman. I might check later to see if that's true, but yes, right now I'll be reading Beware the Snowman, which is, I don't know when this was made. But yeah, it's a little title line that says, He got heat of cold. Anyway, yeah, so, yeah, let's see here. Beware the Snowman. Chapter 1. When the snow blows wild, and the day grow old, beware the snowman, my child. Beware the snowman, he brings the cold. Why did that rhyme return to me? It was a rhyme my mother used to whisper to me when I was a little girl. I can almost hear Mom's soft voice, a voice I haven't heard since I was 5. Beware the snowman, he brings the cold. Mom died when I was 5, and I live with my aunt, Greta, and I'm 12 now, and my aunt never read that rhyme to me. So, maybe made it run from my mind as Aunt Greta and I climbed out of the van and gazed at our snow-covered new home. Jessica, you look troubled, Aunt said, placing a hand on the shoulder of my blue parka. What do you think about, dear? I shivered from not from Aunt's touch, but from the chill of the steady wind that blew down from the mountain. I stared at the flat roof cabin that was to be our new home. Beware the snowman. There's the second verse to that rhyme. I thought, why can I not remember it? I wonder if we still had that old poetry book that Mom used to read to me from. What a cozy little home, Aunt said. She still had her hand on my shoulder. I felt so sad, so terribly unhappy, but I forced a smile on my face. Yes, cozy, I murmured. The snow clinging to the window shield. It filled with the cracks between the shangs. A mountain of snow rested on a low, flat roof. Aunt Greta, normally pale cheeks, were red from the cold. She isn't very old, but she had white hair for as long as I can remember. She wears a long, always tie behind her back, behind her head, and a single braid that falls nearly all the way down in her back. She is tall and skinny, and kind of pretty, with a delicate round face, big sad dark eyes. I don't remember. I don't look at all like my aunt. I don't know who I look like. I don't remember my mom, dad well, and I never knew my father. And Greta told me that he disappeared soon after I was born. Asshole. Sorry. Anyway, back to the book. I have very dark brown hair and brown eyes. I'm tall and athletic. I was a star basketball player on the girls' team at my school back in Chicago. I like to talk a lot and dance and sing. Aunt Greta can go a whole day without barely saying a word. I love her, but she is stern and silent. Sometimes I wish she were easier to talk to. I'm gonna need someone to talk to, I thought, sadly. We left Chicago only yesterday, but I already miss my friends. How am I gonna make friends in this tiny village on the edge of the Arctic Circle, I wondered. I held my aunt, pulled back from the van, my boots crunching over the hard snow. I gazed up at the snow-covered mountains. Snow everywhere. I couldn't tell where the mountains ended and the clouds began. The little square house along the road didn't look real to me. They looked as they were made of gingerbread, as if I stepped in some kind of fairy tale. Except it wasn't a fairy tale. It was my life. My totally weird life. I mean, why did we have to move from the United States to this tiny frozen mountain village? Aunt Greta never really explained. Time for a change, she muttered. Time to move on. It was so hard to get her to say more than a few words at a time. I knew that she and Mom grew up in a village like this one, but why did we have to move here now? Why did I have to leave my school and all of my friends? Sharpay, What kind of name is Sharpay? Can you imagine moving from Chicago to Sharpay? Lucky, huh? No way. It it's even with a skiing town. The whole village is practically deserted. I wonder if there was anyone here my age. Aunt Greta kicked snow away from the front door of our new house. Then she struggled to open the door. The wood is very wrapped, she grunted. She lowered her shoulder to the door and then pushed it open. She's thin, but she is tough. I started carrying the bags into the house, but something stand in the snowy yard across the road caught my eye. Curious, I turned and stared at it. I gasped as it came into focus. What is that? A snowman? A snowman with a scar? As I squinted across the road from it, the snowman started to move. Chapter 2. I blinked. No, that snowman wasn't moving. Its red scarf was fluttering in the swirly breeze. My boots crushed loudly as I stepped up to the snowman and examined it carefully. What a weird snowman! It had a sinister tall limb for arms, one arm poking out to the side and the other arm stood straight up as it was waving to me. Each tree limb had 3 twig fingers poking out from it. The snowman had 2 dark round stones for eyes, a crooked carrot nose, and a downturned sneer mouth of smaller pebbles. Why did it have to make it look so mean looking? I wondered. I couldn't take my eyes off the scar. It was long and deep, cut down the right side of the snowman's face. Weird, I muttered out loud. My favorite word, Greta is always saying I need a bigger vocabulary. But how else would you describe a nasty looking sneering snowman with a scar on his face? Jason! I didn't say his name right. Come help, Aunt Greta called, made me turn away from the snowman. I hurried back across the road to my new house. It took a long while to unpack the van, where we lugged the final car into the cabin. Aunt Greta found a pot. Then she made us hot chocolate on the little old-fashioned stove in the kitchen. Cozy, she repeated. She smiled, but her dark eyes studied my face. I think she's trying to see if I'm unhappy. At least it's warm in here, she said, wrapping her bony fingers around the white hot chocolate mug. Her cheeks were still red from the cold. I nodded surely. I wanted to cheer her up, but I just couldn't. I can't think about my friends back home. I wonder if they're gonna be a bowl game tonight. My friends were all into basketball. I won't be playing much basketball here, I thought unhappily. Even if they did play basketball, there wouldn't be probably enough kids in the village for a team. You'd be warm up in there, Aunt Greta said, cutting through my thoughts. She pointed out to the low ceiling. The house had only one bedroom. That was my aunt's room. My room was the low attic beneath the roof. I'm gonna go check it out, I said, pushing back my chair. It scraped on the hardwood floor. The only way to reach my room was a metal ladder that stood against the wall. I climbed the ladder and then pushed away the flat board in the ceiling and put myself into the low attic. It was cozy, all right. My aunt had packed the right word. The ceiling was so low I couldn't stand up. Pale white lights screened in my thoughts. The only small round window at the far end of the room. Crouching, I made my way to the window and peered out, snowing, sparkling the window pane. But I couldn't see the road, and the 2 rows of little houses curved up the mountainside. I didn't see anyone out there, not a soul. I bet they all gone to Florida, I thought grimly. It was a midwinter break. The school here was closed. Aunt Greta and I had passed it on our way through the village. A small gray stone building that's not much bigger than a 2-car garage. How many kids will be in my class, I wondered. 3, 4, just me? Or will be all speaking English? I swallowed hard and scowled myself for being so down. Cheer up, I thought. Sharpay is a beautiful, tiny little village. You might meet some really nice kids here. I ducked my head. I made my way back to the ladder. I'm going to cover the ceiling with posters, I decided, that brighten the attic a lot. And maybe help cheer me up a bit. Can I help unpack? I asked. on Greta as I climbed down the ladder. She pushed her long white beard off her braid off her shoulder. No, I want to work in the kitchen first. Why don't you take a walk or something? Do a little exploring. A few minutes later, I found myself outside pulling the drawstring of my parka hoodie tight, adjust my fur-lined gloves, and waited for my eyes to adjust to the white glare of the snow. Which way should I walk? I wondered. I have already seen the school, and the general store, and a small church, and the post office down the road, so I decided to head up to the road toward the mountain tops. The snow was hard and crusty. My boots hardly made a dent in it as I leaned into the wood and started to walk. The trash cut twin roads down the middle of the road. I decided to walk in one of them. I passed a couple houses about the same size as ours. They're apparently dark and empty. Tall stone houses and has a jeep parked in the driveway. I saw a kid sledding in the front yard. An old-fashioned wooden sled. A yellow-eyed black cat out at me from the living room window. I waved my gloved hand at it, but it didn't move. I still hadn't seen any more humans. The wind whistled and grew colder as I climbed. The road grew steeper as it curved up. The houses were set far apart. The snow sparkled as the clouds rolled away from the sun. It was suddenly so beautiful I turned and gazed down at the houses. I passed a little gingerbread house nesting in the snow. It's so pretty, I thought. Maybe we'll get the light to here. Oh, I cried as I felt my icy fingers. I felt icy fingers wrapped around themselves around my neck. Chapter 3. I spun around and pulled through the frozen grass and stared at a grinning boy in a brown sheepskin jacket, a red and green wool ski cap, and skin jacket. Did I scare you? He asked. His grin grew wider. Before I could answer, a girl about my age stepped up from behind a evergreen bush. She wore a purple down coat and a purple glove. Don't you mind, Eli, she said, tossing her hair back off her face. He's a total, crepe. Thanks for the compliment, Eli grinned. I decided it must be brother and sister. They both have the same round face, straight back black hair, and bright sky blue eyes. You're new, Ellie said, squinting at me. Ellie thinks it's funny to scare any new kids, his sister told me, rolling her eyes. My little brother is a riot. Being scared is all about is about all there is to do in Sharpie, Ellie said. His grin faded. What a weird thing to say, I thought. I didn't include myself. I'm not gonna say the name. I'm Jason DeFrost, I told him. Their names were Roland and Ellie Brown. We live there, Ellie said, pointing to the White House. Where do you live? I pointed down the road. Farther down, I replied. I started asking him something, but stopped when I saw the snowman they were building. It had one arm out, one arm up. It had a red scarf wrapped around its head, had a deep scar cut down the right side of his face. That's no man, I stammered. It looks just like the one I saw across the street from me. Roland smile faded. Ely lowered his eyes to the snow. Really, he muttered. Why did you make it like that? I demanded. It's so strange looking. Why did you put the scar on his face? They glanced at each other tensely. They didn't reply. Finally, Roland shrugged. I really don't know, she murmured. She blushed. Was she lying? Why did she wanted to answer me? Where were you walking? Ellie asked, tuffing the snowman's red scarf. Just walking, I told him. Do you guys want to come with me? I thought I'd walk up to the top of the mountain. No, Ellie gasped, his blue eyes wide in fear. You can't, Roland cried. You can't! Chapter 4. Excuse me? I gasped at them in shock. What was their problem? Why can I not go up to the top? I demanded. The fear faded quickly from their faces. Roland tossed back her black hair. Ellie pretended to be busy with the red snowman scarf. You can't go because it's closed for repairs, Ellie finally replied. Haha, remind me to laugh later, Roland sneered. So what's the real reason? I demanded. Well, we just never go up there, Roland stammered, glancing back at her brother. She waited for Ellie to add something, but he didn't. It's kind of like a tradition, Roland continued, avoiding my eyes. I mean, well, we just don't go up there. It's too cold, Ellie added. That's why it's just too cold up there for humans to survive. It would turn into an icy ice in 30 seconds. I knew he was lying. I knew that wasn't a real reason, but I decided to drop the subject. He suddenly seemed so tense and worried. Where are you from? Roland asked. She dragged her gloved hand deeper into her coat pocket. The next village? No, Chicago, I told her. We lived in an apartment on the right of the lake. And you moved here? Ellie cried. From Chicago to Chipay? Why? Good question, I muttered, rolling my eyes. I live with my aunt, see? And Aunt Greta demanded, decided to move here. So I couldn't keep the sadness from my voice. We had talked for a few more minutes. I learned that they had lived in Sharpay their entire lives. It isn't so bad. You get used to not seeing many people, Roland told me. It is nice to see. It is nice if you like snow, Ellie added. Lots and lots of snow. We all laughed. I said, "See you guys later," and started walking down down the road, walking up the road. You're not going to the top, are you? Ellie called. He sounded really frightened again. No, I cried back. I put my hood tighter. It's just getting kind of windy. I just go a little bit farther. The road curved higher. I crunched my way past a wide, woody lot filled with pine trees nearly as thin as pencils. The tree, titled at all angles, not one of them stood straight up. I saw animal tracks in the snow. Raccoon or squirrel? No, too big. Deer tracks? I couldn't tell. I raised my eyes and cried out in surprise. Another sneering snowman stared back at me with a twisted carrot nose and coal black eyes. His red scarf fluttering in the strong wind. I stared at the long scar cut deep in his face. His twig arm waving in the wind as it was greeting me. Why do they build these creepy snowmen? I asked out loud. I turned and saw another one in front of the yard across the street. Same tree branch arm, same red scarf, same scar. It must be maybe some kind of village decoration, I decided. But why didn't Roland and Ellie want to tell me about it? Heavy gray clouds rolled over the sun. The snowman's shadow appeared to stretch until it swept over me. I felt a sudden chill. I stepped back. The sky quickly turned dark. I glanced up at the top of the mountain. Clumps of pine trees have hit the top of view. Should I head back or keep going? I remember the fear on Ellie's face when I said I was climbing out to the top, and I remember Roland crying, "You can't!" It's only made me more curious. What are they afraid of? What is up there? I decided to keep going. A van in the next driveway was buried under a thick sheet of snow. It looked as if it had been driven all winter. I followed the road as it was turned away from the house. The snow became deeper and softer. My boots sank as if I was walking. I imagined that I walked on another planet, a planet I never explored before. The road climbed steeper. Large white rocks jutted out from the snow. Clumps of slender pine trees tilted in every direction. There was no house up in this height. I could only just see trees and snow-covered shrubs. Jutting rocks, the road curved again. The wind whistled. I rubbed my cheek and nose to warm them. Then I leaned into the wind and keep walking. I stopped when a small log cabin came into view. I shuttered my eyes with a gloved hand and stared at it. A cabin way up here? Why would anyone want to live up this high, away from everyone? The cabin stood in a square, clear-out area, surrounded by shaggy little tilted pine trees. I didn't see any cars or sleds. I didn't see any boots prints in the snow. I crept closer to the cabin. The window were steaming over. I couldn't tell if there was light on the inside or not. I sat closer, my heart pounding. I leaned my arm on the window sill and pressed my nose against the glass, but I couldn't see in. Anyone home? I called. The sounds of the wind whistled around the corner of the cabin. I knocked on the door. Hello? No reply. Weird, I muttered. I tried the door. I pushed it lightly. Maybe I shouldn't have, but I did. The door slid open. I felt a rush of warm air from the inside. Anyone home? I called in. I peeked beyond the door, dark inside. Hello? I stepped inside just to take a look. The snow had been bright so bright outside. My eyes adjusted slowly to the dim light, and before I could focus, I saw a white blur, a growling white blur. It leaped on me. Hot breath on my face, and a snarling white creature tackled me to the floor. Chapter 5. Down! Down, Wolfbane! The snarling stopped instantly. The creature backed off. Down, Wolfbane! A man's voice ordered steadily. Gasping for breath, I wiped hot saliva off my face, and I realized I was staring up at a white fur wolf. The wolf was breathing hard. Two jaws, open tongues, slithered down nearly to the cabin floor. Its head was lowered as it pretended prepared to attack again. A round, dark brown eye locked on me surprisingly. Down, Wolfbane! It's okay, boy! I rolled away from the panting creature and climbed to my knees. The two hands reached down and grabbed my hand and tied me to my feet. Are you okay? The man steadied me with the round, silver gray eyes. He was tall and thin, dressed all in denim, with long gray hair, thin back in a short ponytail, and a thick, pure white beard. His eyes glowed like steel marbles. I can almost feel them burning into me. Is that really a wolf? I demanded. He nodded, his expression stern, his eerie eye not moving, not blinking. He wouldn't hurt you. Wolfbane is well trained, but my mouth suddenly felt so dry it was hard to talk. You startled us, the man said, still not blinking, not looking away. We were in the back room. He motioned towards the doorway in the back wall. Sorry, I muttered. I didn't know anyone was in here. I thought, who are you? The man demanded angrily. He narrowed his silvery eyes at me behind the bushy white beard. His slender face reddened. I didn't mean to. Who are you? He repeated. I was taking a walk. I suggested to explain. If only my heart wasn't pounding so hard. If only my mouth wasn't so dry. The white wolf uttered a low growl. It stood tensely, head lowered, eyes locked on me, as if it was waiting for a command to attack. Why did you break into my house? The man demanded, taking a step toward me. He's dangerous, I realized. Then something very strange about him. Something very angry. I didn't break in, I started. You broke into my house! He insisted. Don't you realize how dangerous that is? Wolfbane is trained to attack strangers. Sorry, I choked out. He took another step toward me. He still hasn't blinked those weird, round eyes. My chest tightened in fear. What did he plan to do? I don't want to find out. I took a deep breath and I spun around and ran out the door. Could I get away? Ugh. Chapter 6. Behind me, the door slammed hard against the cabin wall. I glanced back and saw it burst out of the cabin after me. Where are you going? He cried. Hey, stop! Where are you going? I pointed. Up to the top, I cried. No, you're not, he shouted back furiously. You're not going up there. He's crazy, I realized. He has no right to shout at me like this. I can't go anywhere I want. He's crazy. It started to snow, large wet flakes blowing hard in the swirl of the wind. I brushed a snowflake from my forehead and ran to the road. To my horror, the bearded man followed me, half walking, half running all over the steep snow. Beware the snowman, he cried. Huh? I turned back to face him. What did you say? I cried breathlessly. The old rhyme flew through my head again for the second time that day. When the snowman blows wild, the day grows old. Beware the snowman, my child. Beware the snowman. He brings the cold. I didn't believe this, I thought. I haven't thought about that rhyme since I was 5. and now I'm running from my mind twice in one day. We stood staring at each other from opposite sides of the road. I saw the man shiver. He wore only denim, his work shirt, no coat. Big snowflakes clung to his gray hair and shoulders. What did you say? I asked. The snowman lives in the icy cave, he cried, cupping his hand up around his mouth to be heard over the wind. Huh? A snowman? He's really nuts, I decided. Why am I sitting here listening to him? The man lived in a cabin on a mountaintop all by himself, except for a white wolf. Now he's yelling and saying things about a snowman. Where's the snowman? He repeated. You can't go up there. You can't go up to the top. You can't. Why not? I demanded. My voice came out in a higher and more shrill than I had intended. You do not want to meet the snowman, the man cried, the big snowflake covering his beard. His silver eye glowed eerily. If you meet a snowman, he cried, you will never return. He's totally nuts, I realized. That's why he lived all alone up here. I spun away. I knew I had stayed too long. Slipped and slid. I ran through the deep snow. Ran as fast as I could. Cold snowflakes slapped me in my hot face, heart pounding. Down to the road. Down to the Kern Mountains. Road. Panting. Was that me breathing so hard? Were those my bloody footprints? No. Glancing back, I saw a white wolf chasing me. Glancing forward, teeth bared, he lowered head lowered to attack. No, I wailed. The big snowflakes stunned my eyes as I ran. The big white ground tilted. I stumbled but kept running. I suddenly felt as I were trapped in one of those glass balls that has no inside when you're shaking them. I stumbled downhill. The snowflakes flew at me in all directions. The whole mountainside seemed to be quiver and shake. The road! Where's the road? I was lost in the falling snow. My boots sank in the deep drift. I kept running down. The steady thud of the wolf heavy footprints in my ear. I glanced back and saw it gaining on me, moving randomly, easy over the snow drift. Its teeth were baring. Puff of the steam rose from its open mouth. Running hard, I didn't see the smooth rocks jutting up alongside the side of the road. My boots caught on one. Oh, a cry of pain shot up my leg. I lost my balance, stumbled forward. I landed hard on my stomach in the deep snow. I gasped for breath. The fall knocked the wind out of me. Scrambling to my knees, I watched helplessly as the white wolf closed in on me. Chapter 7. To my surprise, the wolf stopped a few feet away. It lowered its head and stared, breathing hard, beneath the thick white fur, its chest heaving up and down. The snowflakes melted on its tongue, stared in fear. I put myself to my feet. I brushed my hair back and brushed the snow off the front of my parka. What was the wolf catching its breath? Would it attack the moment I tried to run? Go home, boy, I whispered. Go home. My voice barely carried out over the wind. In the snow, the white wolf stared at me, still panting. I started to back up. I was afraid to take my eyes off it. I took one step back, then another. The wolf watched me, but didn't move. My boots crunched into the road. Yes, I have found the road. I kept backing up. The wolf stood taller, lowering its tail, tense its backs. His brown eyes followed me, such human eyes. What was it thinking? Why did it chase after me? Was it making sure I went down the mountain? Did the strange man send it to keep me from heading to the mountaintop? I took another step back, then another. The wolf didn't move. The snow-covered road curved away. I kept backing up until I was out of the creature's sight. Whew! I uttered a loud sigh of relief, turning and continued walking down towards the village and my new house. Every few seconds I glanced back, but the wolf didn't follow me. The snow came back hard, but I put my parka hood over my hair. I held it with both hands and started to trot along the road. I wonder if Aunt Grace will be worried about me. I've been gone a lot longer than I had planned. Loud snow clouds have hid the sun. The sky became nearly as black as the night. I started to pass on houses on both sides of the road. I could see the lights on some of them. One house had blazing fire going in the fireplace. Black house has smoke curling up in the chimney. I pass one of the strange scar-faced snowmen, his tree-limbed arms trembling in the wind. He appeared to be waving at me as I passed. I broke into a run. Another snowman greeted me as I rounded the next corner. I hate this village, I thought. It's too weird. It's too weird. I'm never gonna be happy here. Never. Why did Aunt Grace bring us here? A loud thud sounded behind me, forcing away my unhappy thoughts. I'm being followed, I realized. The wolf? No, those were heavy footprints. Were different. Human footprints. The crazy blue man. He followed me. Oh! A frightened moan escaped my lips. Taking a breath, I spun around to face him. Chapter 8. Jason, hi! I gasped and stared through the falling snow at Roland. She had jogged across the road to me. Snowflake didn't dot her black hair. You ran right past our house, she said, breathlessly panting to her yard. Didn't you see us? I glanced over the shoulder and saw her brother Eli was waving for me from the driveway. No, I was just, the snow was falling so hard, and I, stammered. Are you okay? Roland demanded. Well, I hesitated. A white wolf chased me, I blurted out. A crazy man had a cabin near the top. The wolf chased me down here, and, he ran into Corin? Roland cried. Huh? Corin? The wind blew my hood off my head. I squinted hard at Roland. Is that his name? She nodded. He had a cabin that he built himself. He keeps a white wolf named Wolfbane. I meant to warn you before, Jason. Warn me, I interrupted. Yes, to stay away from him. He and that animal he keeps. They're both really strange. Tell me about it, I groaned. I rolled my eyes. Is this why you and Ella never go up to the mountaintops? Roland lowered her eyes. Well, it's one of the reasons. I waited for her to go on, but she didn't. She continued to stare down at the snow. She kicked a clump of wet snow off the one boot, with the other behind her. Ellie stood watching us from his hand jutting into his coat pockets. Well, why doesn't Corin live up there so far away from everyone else? I demanded. Roland hesitated. She glanced back tensely at her brother. No one knows for sure, she answered. Finally, he maybe works for the snowman, her voice trailed off. Snowman, excuse me, I cried. I was sure I hadn't heard her correctly. What did you say, Roland? He worked for the snowman? What do you mean? What does that mean? She didn't answer again. She glanced back nervously at Ellen. Come on, Roland. What do you mean? I insisted. What do you mean he works for the snowman? She backed away, brushing snowflakes from her hair. I gotta go inside, she said. It's almost dinner time. I follow her after her. But first, you have to explain what I demanded. I can't, she whispered. Because of Ellie, he's too frightened. But Roland, I started. I saw Ellie watching us intently from the driveway. Go home, Roland snapped. Just go home, Jillian. Not until you tell me what I meant. What do you mean? I can be stubborn when I want to be. Okay, she whispered, glancing over her shoulder at Ellie. Meet me tomorrow night, okay? Meet me tomorrow night at the church, and I'll tell you everything. Chapter 9. Hi, I'm back. I burst into the house, and Greta was bending over a curtain in the small kitchen, pulling out the cover mugs and placing them in the cabinet. She spun around as I walked in. Is it snowing? She asked. I nodded my head, furiously tossing snowflakes from my hair. The biggest flakes I ever saw, I replied breathlessly. Aunt Grace frowned. I've been so busy in here that I didn't even look out the window. I pulled off my coat and carried it to the front closet, but there was no hangers in the closet yet, so I just tossed the wet coat on top of the stack of cartons. Then I walked back into the kitchen, rubbing the sleeves of my sweater. Aunt Grace, do you know anything about a snowman? I asked. I heard her gasp. But when she turned to me, her face was a blank. Snowman? Do you know anything about a snowman on the top of the mountain? I asked. Aunt Greta bit her bottom lip. No, I don't, Greta. Jetta. Her voice trembled. Why did she look so tense? She bent down to pull a mug from her carton, and I crossed the room to help her unpack them. Someone told me I shouldn't go on top of the mountain because of a snowman. I told her. A snowman who lives up there. And Greta didn't say anything. She handed me 2 minutes. I lifted him up into the cabinet shelf. This man told me if I met the snowman up there, I would never return. I continued. My aunt let out a short, dry laugh. Villagers, village superstition, she muttered. I squinted at her. Really? Of course, she replied. Those tiny villages all have their scary stories. Someone just having fun, keeping you a little scared. Fun, I frowned. I don't think so. That weird, white, bearded guy, Corin, had screamed at me that I couldn't go up to the mountaintops. He wasn't joking. I knew he wasn't joking. He was serious. He was threatening me. He hasn't having a little fun. No way. Aunt Greta, do you remember a rhyme about a snowman? I asked. She stared up and stretched, pushing her hand against her back. Rhyme? I remember a rhyme today from when I was little. It just popped into my head. Aunt Greta chewed up her lip fearfully. I don't think I remember any rhymes, she said, glancing away, boiling my eyes. I remember the first verse I told her, and I recited, when the snow blows wild, and the day grows old, beware the snowman, my child, beware the snowman, he brings the cold. When I finished, I looked up to find the strangest expression on Aunt Greta's face. Her eyes had all gone watery and her chin trembling. Her cheeks were paler than usual. Aunt Greta, are you okay? I asked. What's wrong? Nothing, she replied sharply, turning her face away from me. Nothing at all, Jason. But I don't remember that rhyme. I don't think that I ever heard it before. She filled her long white beard. Are you sure? I asked timidly. Of course I'm sure, she snapped. Now come on, help me finish up in here. So I can begin dinner. What is wrong, I wonder? Why is she suddenly angry at me? Why do I have a feeling that she isn't telling the truth? And Greta never had a lie to me before. Why is she acting so strange now? Anyway, chapter 10. I couldn't sleep that night. My new bed felt hard. I can't imagine that low ceiling was sinking, dropping on me. The snow climbed, clouds had drifted away, and a half moon appeared low in the sky. The moonlight washed through my round window, casting a long, shipping shadow over my room. I shuddered under my quilt. It was all so new to me, strange. I wonder if I would ever be able to sleep up here. I shuttered my eyes and tried to think nice, soothing thoughts. I pictured my friends back in Chicago. I called their hits one by one. I wonder what were they doing all today while I was having my frightening adventure on the mountain. I wonder if they missed me. I just had fallen asleep when the howl began. Wolf howls. I climbed out of bed, made my way to the window. Down below, the moonlight made the snow sparkle. It was almost as bright as during the day. Rushing toward its small breeze, the wind carried another frightening howl. I raised my eyes to the mountain. I can only see houses dark, silent, and a silvery road that curved all the way to the top. My body tingled. I knew I couldn't fall asleep. It was so chilly up in my little attic room, and the air felt heavy and damp. I decided to take a walk. Maybe it would help me relax, I told myself. I put on a pair of jeans and a sweatshirt, then I crept downstairs, careful not to wake up Aunt Greta. Found my parka and boots. Stepped out into the night. I silently closed the front door behind me. My eyes swept over the glittering snow of my small front yard. I made my way to the road, my breath steaming in the way of my fog. Wow, I murmured. Wow. The cold, fresh air felt so good on my face. The wind had stopped. The whole world seemed still and silent. No cars, I realized. No horns honking, no bushes roaring past, no people laughing and shouting on the streets. I'm all alone out here, I told myself. The whole world is mine. A little frightening howl burst out of my crazy thoughts. I shivered and raised my eyes to the mountain top. Was that the white wolf howling up there? Did it howl like that every night? Why did the howl sound so human? I took a deep breath of cold air and held it. Then I began to walk slowly across the road. My boots crunched on the hard, crunchy snow. I passed a few houses and kept walking. I stopped as a shadow slid over my path. Chapter 11. I glanced at the first. I saw someone following me, but then I realized I was staring at a long shadow of a snowman. The shadow tilted over the road. The tree, branch and arm, one raised, one out to the side, apparently one menacing. I stepped over to the shadow and crossed the street, but another shadow fell over me. Another snowman, an identical snowman. The shadow of the strange snowman fell over each other. I suddenly felt as if I were walking in a black and white world of shadowy heads, fluttering shirts, stick-like arms, all saluting, all waving. Why were there so many of them? Why did people in the village build them all alike? Another howl made me raise my eye from the crossroads shadow from over the snow. This howl sounded closer. It definitely sounded human. A chill ran down my spine. I turned back to the house. I decided my heart was pounding now. The howl was so near. It has really frightened me. I started to walk fast, swinging my arms as I was walking, leaning into the gusty wind. But I stopped when I saw the scar-faced snowman in the driveway up ahead. And I gasped when it was nodding its head at me. No, 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 no! A low cry escaped my lips. It nodded. The snowman nodded. Then his head rolled to the ground and cracked apart a soft thud. And I realized the wind had made it had not the wind had blown and scared the head off the body. What am I doing out here? I asked myself. It's late. It is cold. It's weird. It's some kind of creature nearby is howling his head off. I guess across the yard at the hellish snowman. Their head was shattered clumps of white as the snowman base. The scarf had remained on top of the round body. It flapped in the gust of the wind. I felt another shiver. I turned and ran towards home. Ran towards the blue-black shadow of the snowman. My boots crunched over the shadow of their waving arms, their scaly heads. A snowman in each yard. Snowman lighting up the streets like a night watchman. This walk was a crazy idea, I thought, feeling my panic from my chest. I just want to be home now. I just want to be back and safety in my new house. A snowman waved at me, a three-finger limped at me. It sneered, a cold, dark sneer as I ran past. And as I stumbled for home, the rhyme forced its way back in my mind. When the snow blows wild and the day grows old, beware the snowman, my child, beware the snowman. He brings the cold. My house came into view down the road. I had sunken into the deep breath and ran harder. The old rhyme had been haunting me ever since I was arriving in this village. The old rhyme had followed me ever since my childhood, followed me to my strange new home. Why did I suddenly remember it today? Why did you try to tell me? Why is the cold words return after being forgotten for so many years? I have to find the rest of it. I have to find the second verse of the poem. An eerie howl raised like an abandoned siren, sounding like it's so close behind me. I spun around. I searched for the road and frozen yard. No one's there. No wolf. No human. Another howl sounded closer. Was someone following me? I had my head over my ears to keep out the frightening sound. I flew over the snow, flew the rest way to my house. I reached the narrow front door as another long howl sent a chill down my spine. Closer! It's so close, I realized. Someone's following me. I grabbed the doorknob and twisted, pushing. No! The door didn't budge. I twisted again, this way, the other way. Push the door, pull it, locked. I have locked myself out. 12. Another frightening howl, so close from the side of my house. My whole body trembled, panicking toward my throat. I stumbled back from the front door. I saw that the only window on the side of the house was open and cracked. The snow, struck the window pane and crumpled on the narrow slit. And I stared at the tiny opening in the window, bound toward it. Then I stopped in a deep breath and hustled toward the window. I grabbed the snow wooden frame and unhinged a low growl. I pushed up with all my strength. To my surprise, the window slid up easily. I pushed it all the way up. Then I grabbed the slit with both hands and hoisted myself up as another howl rang from the night air. So close and frightening. I trembled head first into the house, landing hard on my head and my knees on the wood floor. With the gas, I scrambled on my feet, grabbed the window, and pulled it shut. Then I stood again, leaning against the wall, listening, waiting to catch my breath. Had I waited on Greta? No, the house had stood dark and silent. The only sound I could hear was my rapid, fluent breathing. Another howl, this is the time. Had I only imagined that I was being followed? What terrifying howl rolled down from the mountain, carried by the wind? Still breathing hard, I stepped away from the wall. Making my way through the darkness, I head to the little bathroom where I had a pile of packing curtains. My books were all stuffed in one of the curtains. I was sure that I had packed one of the old poetry books Mom used to read to me. White moonlight flooded in from the window against the back wall. I found the book card on the top of the stack, pulled it down from the floor. My hand trembled as I struggled to pull it off the heavy packing tape and open the box. I had to find a poem. I told myself I had to read the second verse of that rhyme. I dragged open the garden and began pulling out books. I packed a bunch of paperback on the top. Underneath them, I found some textbooks and autobiographies I used at school. As I pulled them out, stacking them carefully on the floor, I heard a cough. There's a footprint. Someone else is in here. I realized, hey, Greta, is that you? I cried. But the voice repeated, wasn't Aunt Greta. What are you doing? A strange voice demanded in a raspy whisper. Chapter 13. The ceiling light flashed on. I blinked, swallowed hard. I stared back up at Aunt Greta. You frightened me, Jason. She croaked. I jumped on my feet. You frightened me too, I replied, waiting for my heart to stop pounding. What happened to your voice? Aunt Greta rubbed her pale throat. I lost it, she rasped. Horrible sore throat. It must be cold. It must be the cold. I'm not used to the cold of the village yet. Her strange white hair loosed behind her. She tugged it off the collar of her flannel night shirt, began tugging from one hand. What are you doing, Jason? What are you doing out here in the middle of the night? She croaked. The old poem, I replied. I want to find it. I can't remember the second verse. We unpack the book tomorrow, she cut in. She yawned. I'm too tired. My throat hurts so badly. Let's try to get some sleep. She nodded. She suddenly appeared so tiny and frail. I'm sorry, I said, following her from the room. I didn't mean to wake you up. I just couldn't sleep, so... Her eye fell on my parka, which I had tossed onto the living room couch. You went out? She cried, bending to face me. I could see alarm on her face. Well, yes, I confessed. I thought maybe a short walk. You shouldn't go out in the middle of the night, she scolded. She rubbed her sore throat, her eyes arrowed at me. Sorry, I muttered. What was the big deal anyway? What was so terrible about going out at night? She hesitated, chewing her lower lip, the way she always does when she had to think hard. It's just dangerous, that's all, she whispered finally. What if you fall in the snow or something? What if you broke your leg? There'd be no one outside to help you. I'll roll home, I joked. I laughed, but she didn't join in. I stared, strong feeling that she had something else on her mind. She wasn't worried about me falling down. She was worried about something else, but she didn't want to say. Did it have something to do with that animal howl? Did it have something to do with the snowman on the mountain that Corin had warned me about? The snowman that Aunt Greta said just a villain superstition. I yawned. I finally found us too sleepy to think about any more about these and any more about the questions. I put my arms around Aunt Greta's slender shoulder and I walked across the hall to her room. Sorry I woke you, I whispered. Then I said goodnight and climbed the ladder to my attic bedroom. Yawning, I put off my jeans and sweatshirt and tossed them to the floor and jumped onto the bed and pulled out the quilt onto my face. Pale moonlight washed in at the round window outside the other end of the room. I shut my eyes. No house outside, no sound at all. I snuggled my heels to my soft pillow. My new bed felt so hard, but I was too tired to care. I just about dropped off to sleep when the whispers began flowing into the room. Beware the snowman, Jaden. Beware the snowman. Whew. Ooh, we got a few more chapters. Ooh, here we go. Chapter 14. I sat up straight with a gasp. Huh, who? There's, I croaked out. I stared across the room at the window. The unfamiliar shape of my furniture appeared. Still, still very ghost-like in the middle, in the white moonlight. But where's the snowman? This whispered words were repeating. Jason, beware the snowman. Who are you? I cried. How do you know my name? Sitting up in my strange bed, I grabbed the end of my quilt, threaded it tightly in both hands, squeezing it, and I listened. Silent now. Who are you? My cries so tired and tiny as will. Silence. Who are you? Silence. I didn't know how long I sat there waiting for a reply. After a while, I just somehow drifted off to sleep. The next morning, I told Aunt Granny about the whispering warning. She sipped her coffee before replying. Then she reached over the table and squeezed my hand. I had bad dream too last night, she said, still whispering out of her sore throat. Dream, I repeated. Do you think it was a dream? Aunt Greta nodded, took another long sip of coffee. Of course, she croaked. I spent my day helping my aunt unpack the cartons and by our new house. I searched every carton for the poetry book, but I couldn't find it. I didn't realize how much stuff we had bought from our apartment in Chicago. Such a small house. It was really strange struggling to find a place for everything. As we worked, I found myself thinking about the Roland. She promised me to meet me at the village church after dinner. She said she would tell me the truth about the snowman tonight. The truth. I picture her brother Ellie's very frightened expression as he stood in the snowy distance, far away, watching Roland and me, and I remember how frightened they had become when I told them I was walking up the mountaintop. So much fear in this village. What was it all because of that silly superstition? After I washed and dried the dinner dishes, I pulled on my parker and my boots, prepared to meet Roland. I told Aunt Ground the truth. I told her I was meeting a village girl my age. I met her during my walk. It's snowing real hard, Aunt Greta said in her raspy voice. Don't stay out too late, Jason. I promise to be home before 9. Then I pull on my hood tight on my gloves and then step outside. Does it snow here every day? I asked myself, shaking my head. I always like snow, but enough already. Snow came down hard in the sheets, driven by a strong wind. I lowered my head and trundled down the road toward the church. Snowflakes flew in my face, stinging my eyes. I could barely see. What a blizzard! I wonder if Roland showed up. The little stone church stood across from the post office. It wasn't far down the road from my house, but in the walking, blowing snow, it seemed a mile away. Keeping my head down, I stepped into a deep drift. Cold snow in my boots, soaking my socks. Oh, I let out a shrill groan. I'm gonna freeze, I cried out loud. There was no one around to hear me. The row stood empty. No one moved. I passed a brightly lit house, but I couldn't see anyone inside. Snow blew against my face, my coat, as if it was trying to push me back, as if it was trying to make me turn around. This is crazy, I remember. Crazy, no way. Roland will meet me tonight. Squinting into the green, evening light, I saw Steve's other church wide against the snow. I hope it's open, I said out loud, ducking my head. I ran across the road and thudded into something hard, very cold. Evil black eye glared into mine. I started to scream. Hope I can get for the rest of this. Look out. Sorry to stop, I was just checking something. Okay, we're getting close to the end. We're on chapter 15. Okay. Chapter 15. A second later, a second hand jerked me away. A voice cried, Jason, what's wrong? My scream caught my throat. I stumbled back, my boots slapped in the slick, wet snow. I turned to see Roland tucking on my coat. Sleep. I could see you running right into the snowman. She said, but why did you scream? I sputtered. I squinted through the falling snow at the snowman hits the arc eyes, the scar down his round face. I just freaked, I stammered. I scold myself for acting so stupid. Now, Roland must think I'm a real jerk. I thought, unhappy. What is wrong with me anyway? Screaming because I was bumping into a snowman. Why did someone build a snowman like that in front of a church? I asked. Roland didn't reply. Her dark eye peered in mine. Are you okay? She asked. I nodded. Yeah, fine. Let's get out of the snow. I took one last glance at the sneering snowman. Then I followed Roland to the wood door on the side of the small church. We stepped inside and stammered the snow off our boots in his straw mat. Does it ever stop snowing here? I grumbled, pulling back my hood and unzipping my parka. Sure, it stopped for 2 minutes. We all took a summer vacation. Roland joked. She shook out her long black hair. I glanced around and we're some kind of waiting room. A long wooden bench stood against the wall. The lights shaped like old-fashioned glass lamps hanging over the wall beside the bench, giving off a small glow. We dropped our coats beside the bench and sat down. I rubbed my hands to try to warm my cheeks burned. It's nice and warm in here, Roland said, keeping her voice low. The pastor keeps the heat up real high. He doesn't like to be cold. Who doesn't? I murmured, rubbing my ears, trying to return to some feeling of them. It's a nice, quiet place to talk, Roland continued. Especially to talk about things that are kind of scary. Scary, I replied. She glanced at me in the small white room. She suddenly seemed intense, uncomfortable. Did John tell you anything about the village? Roland whispered. Anything about the history of the village? I leaned closer to her. She whispered so softly. Why was she so nervous, I wondered. We're the only ones in this entire church. No, I replied. Not a thing. I really don't think Aunt Greta told me much about the village at all. Then why did you move here? Roland demanded. A truck beats me. Aunt Greta never explained. She said it was time for us to leave Chicago. Roland leaned forward tensely, brought her face close to mine. I'll tell you the story, she whispered. The history of the village. It's very strange. People don't talk about it much. Why not? I interrupted. Because it's too frightening. Roland replied. My brother Ellie is too terrified all the time. That's why I met you at the church. He doesn't really like me to talk about any of this. He doesn't like me to talk about the snowman. Snowman, I demanded. I stared at her carelessly. What about the snowman? 16. Royland shifted her weight. With a bench creaked beneath her, she took a deep breath and began her story. Years ago, two sorcerers lived in this village, a man and a woman. Everyone knows that they were sorcerers because everyone left them alone. What? Were there evil sorcerers? I interrupted. Roland shook her head. No, I don't think they're evil. At least I don't think they're meant to be. She glared around the room. I fell back against the bench and waited intensely for her to continue. One day, the two sorcerers were fooling around, having fun. They cast a spell on a snowman, and the snowman came to life. I gasped. Really? Roland near her eyes at me. Please don't interrupt. Jason, please let me tell the whole story first. I apologize. Leaning close to me, she continued her story as a whisper. The sorcerers used their magic to bring the snowman to life, but they lost control of it. The snowman was too powerful. It was evil. The sorcerers have given it life, but they didn't really know what they were doing. They didn't know what the snowman would try to do, destroy the village, and everyone in it. The sorcerers tried to use magic to put the snowman back to sleep, but their magic wasn't powerful enough. The villagers all gathered together, somehow managing to force the snowman up to the top of the mountain. There was a big cave at the very top of the mountain. The cave cut in ice. Everyone called it the ice cave. The villagers chased the evil snowman into the ice cave. The most people moved away from the village. Few people wanted to stay, knowing the evil creature would stay alive at the top of the mountain. So most people left, Roland continued, whispering so softly I could barely hear her. The two sorcerers probably left too. No one really knows what happened to them. And that's when Corin came into the story, Roland said. I stared at her. Corin? The weird guy with the beard? Roland nodded. After the evil snowman was chases the ice cave. Cora moved up here. He built a cabin just beneath the ice cave. No one could figure out why. Is Corn trying to protect the town? Roland continued. Does he work for the snowman? Does he help the snowman? Or does he think that living so close to evil snowman would keep him safe? No one knows, Corin. Yuri Sheldon comes down from the mountaintop when he does come to the village. He doesn't talk to anyone. No one knows for sure why he or why he stay out there, Roland continued. No one has had anything to do with Corin. We don't know if he's crazy or evil, she sighed. Once again, her eyes darted around the room. She seemed to be so nervous as she didn't want anyone else to know that she was telling me the history of the village. Some night, she continued, we could hear the snowman up on the top of the mountain. Since, we can hear him roaring and bellowing with rage. Some nights we can hear him howling like a wolf. We're all building snowman that look like him. Everyone in the village built them. I jumped onto my feet. So that's why I keep seeing the weird snowman everywhere, I cried. Roland raised a finger to her lips. She motioned me to sit back down. I dropped back onto the bench. Why did you build a snowman? I demanded. Why is there one in just about every yard? To honor him, Roland replied. Honor him? I cried. You know what I mean, she said sharply. People hope if that the evil snowman comes down from the ice cave, he'll see the little snowman man that looks like him. It'll make him happy and keep him from doing any harm. Roland's grin squeezed my hand, her dark eye burned mine. Now, do you understand? She whispered. Do you understand why we're all so afraid? I stared back at her and burst out laughing. Anyway. Chapter 17. I shouldn't have laughed, but I just couldn't help it. I mean, Roland's a really smart girl, but she can't really believe that story because it's a joke, I decided. A story that the villagers tell to scare people who moved here. I started laughing when I saw the startled expression on Roland's face. Hey, come on, I said, you're kidding, right? She shook her head ominously. Her dark eye glowed in the dim light. Ciceri's eyes. You don't really believe that a snowman can walk, do you? I demanded. My voice echoed, shrilly in the small room. You don't really believe a snowman can be alive? I believe it, Rowan replied in a low tone voice. It's not a joke, Jillian. I believe it. Everyone else in the village believe it. I dated her. The ceiling creaked properly. From the weight of the snow, I shift my weight on the hardwood bench. But have you ever seen it? I asked. Have you ever seen the snowman walk? She blinked. Well, no, she confessed. But I heard him last night late at night. Jason, I heard him. His howls, his angry cries. She climbed to her feet. I won't go down close enough to see him. I'm too afraid, she said. I won't go up to the ice cave. No one will. But Roland, I started. She stopped. Her chin trembled. I couldn't see the fear in her eyes. She just talked about the snowman have frightened her. I wanted her to tell the story that could be true. I wanted to tell her that it sounded like a silly superstition, a fairy tale, but I didn't want to insult her. She might be my only friend here. I thought. I stood up, pulling out my coat. Then the two of us made our way out of the church. The snow had stopped. A ghastly wind blew from the mountaintops. The wind made the fresh snow snarl and dance around our boots. I pulled my hoodie over my hair and lowered my head into the wind. No way I could ever believe such a wild story, I thought. Why not? Why doesn't Roland see how crazy it is? Maybe we made our way off the road and our boat sank into the paveway of fresh snow. We didn't talk about our voice. We would carry out the loud rush of the wind. I walked Roland home. We stopped at the house of her snow-covered driveway. Thanks for telling me about the snowman, I said. Her eyes looked on mine. You had to be told, she said solemnly. Then she added, you gotta believe me, Jillian. It's true, all of it. I didn't reply. I said goodnight, and I turned and leaned into the wind. Heading for my home, I was nearly there when I heard a sound over the rolling wind. A heavy thump, thump, thump. coming up rapidly behind me. Oh, my voice. Sorry if I'm interrupting. My voice is just really hurting right now. Let me get some water before we continue. Sorry, anyway. Back to the story. Chapter 18. I froze for a moment. I thought with my imagination, I pictured an enormous, evil snowman as tall as a house, hovering over me. No, I remembered, spinning around and saw Roland's brother, Ellie, right up to me. His heavy war boots studded over the snow. His skin, skin, sheepskin coat was open, flapping over the as he ran. Ellie, it's late, I cried. What are you doing out here? He didn't reply, breathing hard, his chest heaving up and down, his sweater, his eyes me suspiciously. She told you, didn't she? He demanded breathlessly. Huh? We moved behind a wild tree out of the wind. Ellie, what is your problem? I demanded. Roland told you, didn't she? He repeated. She told me about the snowman. He pointed. She told you about the snowman. He pointed up towards the mountain. Well, yeah, I replied. A clump of snow dropped on the tree on the park and brushed it away. Ellie, you're crazy. Are you crazy? It's freezing out here. Zip up your coat, I scowled. Roland doesn't know one thing, Ellen continued, still breathing hard. She doesn't know what I saw. I saw the snowman. I stared at him. You saw the snowman? You saw the snowman? The living snowman? Ellie nodded. Yes, I saw him. But that's not the scary part. Ellie, what is the scary part? I demanded. Oh boy, here we are. Oof. Chapter 19. He stared at me. The wind ruffled through his dark hair, but his eyes remained steady hard. What is the scary part? I repeated. The scary part, Ellie replied, is that the snowman saw me. The wind howled in the trees around. I dragged Ellie to the side of the nearest house. We pressed against the wall. Shivering, he finally zipped up his coat. Ellie, the story's crazy, I insisted. I really don't think... Just let me tell you what happened, he pleaded. Then you can decide if it's crazy or not. He showed again. It saw me, Jason. The snowman saw me. It knows who I am. It knows that I saw it, and that's why I'm afraid of it. But Ellie, I started. He raised a glove, trying to silence me. Wait, please. He took deep breaths. It happened a few weeks ago. My two friends and I, we were climbing up the mountain. We wanted to see the ice cave, so we snuck around the Quarren's cabin. I don't give it, I said. What does Quarren have to do with it? He won't let anyone near the cave, Ellie repeated. He keeps everyone away. Quarren is so weird. Some people think that he works for the snowman. He protects the snowman by keeping the snowman, everyone away from the village. But you've seen Pat Quarren, I asked? Ellen nodded. Yeah, my friends and I were climbing up close to the ice cave. I never seen the cave before. What did it look like? I asked. Ellie made a sweep toward motion toward his hand, outlining the shape of the cave for me. It was a huge cave cutting into the side of the mountain. He said, it made of ice, all smooth and shiny. It looked like glass. The cave entrance is wide and totally black. Its huge icicles hanging down all the way from the front. One of the pointed sharpened knife. Wow, I murmured. Sounds kind of pretty. Yeah, in a way, Ellen agreed. But we didn't think it was pretty when the snowman came out. I stared hard at Ellie, studying his face. You really saw a snowman walking? I demanded. Ellie nodded. We saw a rumbling sound. Wow. I'm in 1 hour mark. Ugh. I'll try to see if I can get to the end of this book. The ground started to shake. My friends and I got scared. We thought it was an earthquake or avalanche or something. My friends started to run down the mountain, but I stayed. I saw it. The snowman poked his head out of the cave. He was big as a grizzly bear. He had a scar deep down onto his face. His eyes surged around. Then they stopped on me. His mouth opened in an angry roar. He took a deep breath, then he started again. The snowman stepped out of his cave. The ground shook. It really did. The snow blew over the place. The snowman stared at me. He roared again, and I took off. Ellen continued. Briefly, I ran past Cora's cabin. I ran all the way down the mountain. I never looked back. What about your friends? I asked. They were waiting for me down at the bottom. Ellie replied. We just went to our house and we never talked about it. Why not? I demanded. Too afraid, I guess. Ellie said, resting down. We never talked about it. We never mentioned it. I never even talked to Roland. Rana, it was just too frightening to talk about. He raised his eyes to me. But now I have dreams. He confessed. Bad dreams about the snowman every night. I stared at him, unsure what to say. His whole body was trembling from the cold. I wondered, or is it just from being afraid? He glanced back at me, waiting for me to say something. Ellie, why don't you tell Roland about this? Why are you telling me? I asked. So you believe the story, he replied, solemnly. You knew, Jason. You probably think it's all just as silly. We have to stay away from the ice cave. But Ellie, I started. You don't have to believe my sister, did you? He accused. You didn't believe her story. Well, I hesitated. That's why I waited for you, he explained. I wanted you to tell my story. Do you believe me, Jason? Do you believe that I saw a snowman? I don't know, I told him. Before when I started around the house, wall of the house, I felt my nose and cheeks. My whole face was numb. I gotta get home, I said. Ellie grabbed my parka sleeve. Jason, don't go out the ice cave, he pleaded. Please, believe my story. It is true. I put my arm away. Then I started to jog over the snow toward my house. Go home, Ellie, I called back. Go home before you freeze. I jogged all the way home. It was good to feel run and not think about anything. Jogging on a fresh paveway, the snow was different under my boots. On the slick hard floor underneath, but the time I reached home, my legs ached. I'm breathing hard. I pushed open the front door. To my surprise, the house was totally dark. I pulled off a glove and went my witch watch. Only 9 o'clock. Did Aunt Greta go to bed so early? She usually stay up until at least midnight. I clicked on the ceiling lamp and glanced around the small room. A magazine lay open on the couch. Nothing else was out of place. Leaning against the front door, I put off my wet boots and stood them in the corner. Then I took out my parka and dropped it onto the couch. My eyes stopped at the door. Aunt Greta's bedroom. The door stood open. The darkness beyond the door. I quickly made my way across the room and peered into my aunt's bedroom. Aunt Greta, I called softly. No reply. I said to the room, Aunt Greta, are you in here? I finally fumbled at a lamp on her dresser and finally managed to click it on. Aunt Greta? No, not in bed, not in her room. Aunt Greta, are you home? I called loudly. I heard out of her room. I headed out of her room. Oh, I cried out when I stepped into something. Something cold, wet, soaking from my socks. Huh. I lowered my gaze to see a white puddle of cold water on the bathroom floor. How did that get here? I murmured. I suddenly felt worried. Aunt Greta, I called, hurling back into the living room. Aunt Greta, where are you? Chapter 20. Panic swept over me. Where could she be? I started for the kitchen. When a rattling in the front door made me stop. Was someone breaking in? I gasped at the door, slowly creaking open. And Greta came in bustling and brushing off her snow off her long black coat. She smiled at me, but her smile instantly died when she saw my expression. Jason, what's wrong? I, 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 I sputtered. And Greta, where were you? I got scared. She pulled off her coat. Didn't you see my note? Huh? No. I left for you on the refrigerator, she said. I met a nice couple on this morning at the general store. They came by and invited me over for dessert and coffee. Oh, that's nice, I croaked out, my heart still pounding my chest. Why did you get scared? Aunt Greta demanded. Hanging her coat in the front closet, she straightened her long white braid behind her sweater. Well, I was in your room and looking for you, and I stepped in a cold puddle on the floor, I replied. Puddle? No? Show me, Aunt Greta demanded. I led the way to the bedroom, pointed wet bought on the floor. Aunt Greta gazed up at the ceiling. Maybe the roof leaked, she murmured. We have to explain it tomorrow morning. I, I, I thought it was a snowman, I blurted out. I know it's crazy. I thought I had been here. I thought I had broken into the house, and I thought when I saw the shock on my aunt's face, her mouth dropped open. She uttered a shuddered gasp. Jason, what are you talking about? She demanded. What have your friends been telling you? More nonsense about a snowman? Yes, I confessed. Roland and Ellie had two village kids I met. They both told me a crazy story about a living snowman who stayed at the ice cave at the top of the mountain. They said, it's all superstition, and Greta interrupted. It's all old tales that have been handed down. None of it's true. You're smart enough to know that, Jason. Yes, I agree, but Roland and Ellie seemed so frightened. They really believed the story, and Ellie made me not to go up to the ice cave. Probably good advice, and Greta said. She crossed the room and put his hand gently on my shoulder. You probably shouldn't go off that mountain, dear, she said softly. Why not? I demanded. There must be some kind of real danger up there, she replied. Well, let me know it, but something else dangerous. She sighed. That's how old stories get started. Something bad happens on the mountain. The story changes each time. It's told years later. No one remembers what really happened, and now everyone believes a crazy story about a living snowman. She shook her head. Have you seen all the strange snowmen in this village? I asked her. All the snowmen wear the scars on their face and red scarves. Don't you think they're spooky? It's a strange village tradition, Aunt Greta confessed. Very quaint. I thought they were very interesting looking. Interesting, I frowned at her. Well, make me promise, she said, yawning. Promise? Promise me you won't go right up to the mountain tops and explore the ice cave. It's probably a very dangerous place. Well, I hesitated. I promise, Aunt Greta urged sternly. Okay, I promise, I agree, rolling my eyes. But a few minutes later, I decided to break that promise. I was lying in my attic bed, my eyes shut tight, listening to the strange sounds from the mountaintop. Were there animals? Were there humans? I am mysteries. I had to know the answers to the things. I'm going up there, the man decided. I don't care what I promised my aunt. I'm climbing up there, up the ice cave tomorrow. Chapter 21. I didn't dream of a snowman that night. I dreamed of fluffy white kittens with loose sky blue eyes, dozen of them, the whitest kitten I ever saw. They've been climbing over one another, silently at first, then they started to screech and hiss a fine, ugly sound. Then suddenly, they all wore red scarves around their neck. They clawed at each other, their aching, their purring, white black, hissing and screeching, until I woke up. Yellow morning sunlight poured through the round window at the other end of my bedroom. I could smell the bacon frying downstairs, and Greta was already up and about. I decided to climb down the mountain right after breakfast. I didn't want to make it. I didn't want to think about it anymore. I wanted to go out there and solve the mystery. I knew that strange white beard guy, Corin, was a problem. If he saw me, if he tried to stop me, he and his wolf. But I had a plan to take care of Rowan. If only Roland and Ellie would help. As it turns out, I didn't get out of the house till after lunch, and Greta needed me to hang the curtain with her. We put up paintings and posters she bought from Chicago. The house was tiny and cramped, but I was starting to feel more like home. Where are you going? And Greta called as I pulled out my parka and gloves and started out the door. Oh, no, really, I lied. Just going to hell with Roland and Ellen. I said, as I said their names, I saw them walking out of my front yard. I closed the front door behind me and hurried out to greet them. Eric carried a snow shovel. Roland dragged two slender tree branches. She dropped them at my feet. What's this for? I asked. What are you guys doing here? We had to build your snowman, Roland told me. Excuse me, I cried. You won't be safe until you have a snowman in your yard. They said, listen, guys, I started. The snow is very red. Roland repeated. Good packing snow. It should be too long, Ellie and I brought back everything we need. But I don't have time to build a snowman. I have production. I want to climb up that ice cave this morning. Both gassing me. Ellie grabs the snow shovel and Helen and gas at me. You can't! They cried. Jen, I warned you, Ron said. I had to see for myself, I told him. And then I added, I want you to go with me. Ellen, Ellen cried, then shook her head. You know, we just go up the ice cave, Dylan, and we don't want you to go either. But if we all go together, I urged. No, they both cried. I could see real face on their fear on her face. Staring back at them, I suddenly had an idea. Okay, okay. I said, I'll make a deal with you. That means specifically, what kind of deal, Roland demanded. I stay here and build a snowman. If you want, if you will help me when we're done, I said. No, we won't go with you, Roland insisted. You can't just get us to go up there. The ice case, John. Go deal, Ellen as sternly. You know how to go up the ice case, I told him. You just have to keep Corn Ed busy. So I think that's him. Well, how are we gonna do that? Ellen asked, leaning on the shovel. Well, think of something when we get up there, replied. If you keep time to you, maybe I can think path and get up to the cave. But we don't want you to go to the ice cave, Rowan insisted. I'm going to do it whether one way or the other, I told her, with or without you. So are you gonna help me or not? They glanced intently at each other. Ellen whispered something to her sister. Roland whispered something back. Roland turned to me. Will you build a snowman first? Yes. You won't be safe as a snowman, added. I wanted to tell them about building a snowman wouldn't protect me against anything. I wanted to tell them how silly the whole thing was, but I needed their help, so I know I could never get past Corin in full without them. Okay, fine, first. We'll build a snowman, I agreed. Then Ellie and I will help you, Roland promised. But we won't get any further than Corin's cabin, Ellie insisted in a trembling voice. Great, I replied. Let's get started. I bent down and started rolling a snowball for the snowman's body. Roland was right. It was good packing snow. I rolled the ball across my snowy yard until it was big enough for the two of us to roll. Roland! Let's see. Where will I? Roland and I worked on the body. Ellie worked on the snowman for the head. Snowball for the head. Building one of the strange snowmen gave me the creeping feeling. I felt like I had become a part of the superstition. I was taking part in some kind of ancient village tradition, a tradition built on fear. The people of the village all built these snowmen because they were afraid, and now here I was building one too. Should I be afraid? I wondered. And glanced when the snowman was finished. Roland put a red scarf around her coat pocket, wrapped around under the scarred head. The snowman's darkened eyes seemed to glare at me. The mouth was turned down in a frown, sneer. The arms bobbed softly in the wind. Okay, good job, I told my two new friends. Now let's get going, I motioned toward the mountaintop. Are you sure you want to do this, Ellen asked in a tiny voice. Sure, I'm sure, I decided loudly. But as we started to make our way along the road, I started feeling as I pretended the road then curved up the mountain. Soon the house ended. We were walking through the snowy woods. We didn't talk, we kept our eyes straight ahead. The afternoon sun was lowering itself behind the trees, the blue sharpening the stretch around the snow. The air glass grew colder as we climbed. When Corin's lower cabin came into view, my heart started to pound. I tried to keep my mind calm and clear, but question after question whirled through my brain. What was Corin inside the cave? Cabin? Where was the white wolf? Would my plan work? Let's see here. Okay, we got a few more chapters left. Well, not 33 chapters, but yeah. Anyway, chapter 22. Oh, here we go. All three of us stopped at the end of the road and stared at each other, there at the cabin ahead. The late afternoon sun had fallen behind the trees, the snow billowing in front of us. In the shade of the gray, to the left of the cabin, I saw a row of low, even green shrubs covering the snow. I hid behind the shrubs. I told Roland and Ellen, run off to the cabin, keep Roland and Wolf from seeing me. This isn't gonna work, my mother, his eyes on the cabin. It's getting kind of dark, Roland frightened. Maybe we should come back in the morning. Maybe we should forget about the whole idea, Ellen suggested. I saw his skin chippering. He shuddered. Hey, you promised, I exclaimed. A promise is a promise, right? They didn't reply, but they stared across the gray snow at the cabin ahead. I came this far. I'm not going back, I said sharply. Are you gonna help me or not? I gasped when I heard a low growl from the cabin. The wolf must have heard or smelled us. I knew it would come running out any second. Come on, I urged in a loud whisper. I took up from the snow-covered shrubs. I ducked out a few just as Corin and the wolf burst out of the cabin. Hello, Roland, cried Corin. Hi, Ellen echoed. I watched Roland and Echo run after the Corin. The wolf lowered his head, watching them carefully. I saw Roland and Ellen both talking at once, chattering with Corin. I couldn't hear what they were saying. They were doing that, I told myself, my heart pounding. They keep this address in time for me to move. Time for me to make a run for it. I can't roll in time with the Corin. I glanced over the top of the bushes. The wolf had it back to me. Corin was scratching his gray hair, listening to Warren. I couldn't see his expression, but I imagined it was very confused and surprised. I knew he didn't get any visitors. He must be wondering why Roland and Ella were doing up here. I forced all that thought from my mind. It was time for me to make a run for it. I took a deep breath, then still crouched, and I began to run. My legs felt like jello, sinking into the deep snow. I ducked my head. I darted up the steep mountain. Up, up. I just passed the bushes when I heard Roland cry, angrily shouting, Hey! Wait! Chapter 23. I stopped so suddenly, I fell over backward. I landed hard. The snow seemed to fly up in my face. What? Sweeping over me, surrounding me, everything went white. I'm caught, I realized. My plan didn't work. I stood up and turned to face Cord. But to my shock, he wasn't coming after me. And the wolf were running. He and the wolf were running downhill, chasing after Roland and Ellen. I heard the wolf utter the growl after they disappeared from the crew. I stood frozen in place, staring at the spot where it had been. Would Corin harm Roland and Ellen? I should run after them, try to help them. No, I had to keep going. This was the plan. This is my chance. Take another deep breath. I turned and started running up the mountainside. The cabin was so steep that I wasn't sure I could make it. But then I glanced around, ground level off. I found myself on a wide ledge. The ledge was slick. My boots slipped on the ice. I pressed my back against the wall and gazed at the ice cabin. Yes, there stood above me a cave, tall as the building, smooth, glassy reflection, clouds in the sky above. I couldn't see the entrance from here. I could stare at one of the slides, the narrow ledge as it curls up to the cave. I kept my back pressed against the wall and slowly, step by step, inched my way towards the top. Don't look down, I murmured out loud. But as soon as I said it, I had to look. It was deep down drop from the ledge to the far ground, far, far below. If I slipped and fall, I'm not going to slip and fall, I told myself. A deep rumble sound made me jump. I grabbed the mountainside with both hands to keep from falling. The ledge trembled beneath me. Another low rumble made me cry out in fear. The ledge trembled again. The whole mountainside seemed to shake. The sound came from the cave. Is that the moving up here? I wonder, or is it just the normal sound of mountaintop in the wind? I glanced my courage and moved forward inch by inch. I came this far. I refused to retreat now. The ledge had grew narrow and sharpened as it curved around. Around rumbled, and noise made me gasp. Somehow I held on and felt the ledge across. It seemed to take forever, but then the cave open opening came into view, and after that I saw the most terrifying sight of my life. Chapter 24. I didn't see it at first, but I saw a layer of solid ice covering the ledge. Glossy cave rose up beneath the ledge. The gasping entrance to the cave was bunkered in the darker night. I stood staring into the darkness, trying to catch my breath, trying to slow my pounding heart. Clouds reflecting in the glassy ice drift rapidly to the right. The case appeared to move, sharply pointing the icicles down, stepping down from the roof of the cave opening. They remind me of sharp teeth from about to close. I stared into the black cave opening and waited to see if anything would appear. I didn't have to wait long. A rumble as loud as thunder made the ledge quake. Afraid I might fly off. I dropped myself to my knees. The rumble grew to roar. A tall white figure lumbered from the blackness of the cave entrance. It's an enormous snowman, I gasped, and stared in horror at the mountain of the snow moved toward me. No, I wailed. I forgot where I was. Forgot to pinch on the narrow ice ledge. It began to start back away from the tall creature. Then I slipped off the ledge. The fall made myself fall. My hands shot up and grabbed onto the ledge. I grabbed onto the icy ledge and held on with a terrifying groan. I stumbled back up to the safety, trembling. My entire body shaked. My breath escaped from my heart. Yes, I held onto the icy ledge and watched the snowman as it glared down at me. A blood-red scarf flapping in the wind. A round black eye were big as the doorknobs. Its dark mouth turned down and frown, fierce, angry sneer, and the scar cut deeply in the side of its round head, long and curling like a black snake. Oh, I uttered another moan as the tree branch reached for me. I shivered in a deep cold, a cold I never felt before. I could see the frozen waves floating from the snowman's wide body. Then the big round head tilted. The black eye bulged even wider. The snowman bellowed in the deep roar of a voice. Who are you? I trembled in the waves of the cold that flowed off its body. It talks! The stories Roy and Ella told me were true. It's all true. Its round eyes locked on mine. The big snowman moved closer. I wanted to stand up, but I wanted to run. But it had me frozen there. I couldn't stand. I couldn't break up. I couldn't escape from it. Who are you? The snowman bellowed. Again, and the whole mountain shook. My voice came out in a shivering shriek. Please, I managed to check out. Please, I didn't mean to bother you. Who are you? This huge snowman creature thunder for the third time. My name, I squeaked. My name is Jason DeFrost. The snowman tree branch shut up. Its dark mouth opened again. Gasp open and surprise. Say it again, it ordered. I shivered in a wave of the cold. Jason DeFrost, I repeated in my tiny, frightening voice. The snowman stared down at me in silence for a long while. It lowered its arm to the round my side. Do you know who I am? It demanded. I swallowed hard. The question took me a total by surprise. I opened my mouth to answer, but no sound came out. Do you know who I am? The snowman thundered. No, I squeaked. Who are you? I am your father. A Star Wars reference before Star Wars did. No! Searcher feeling said. It could be true. Sorry. Anyway, back to the story. Chapter 26. No! All along while whale escaped my throat, I wanted to get away from there. I wanted to run, fly down to the mountain, to fly away, but I couldn't. The snowman trapped me in his icy grip, held me onto the ledge, threw me in a wave after a cold. Jason, I am your father, the snowman repeated. His lower booming voice, he stared down at me with a frightening, round, glassy eye. Believe me, that's impossible, I stammered. I hugged myself, trying to stop my body from trembling. You're a snowman. You can't be my father. Listen to me, the snowman roared. I am your father. Your mother was a sorceress, and so is your aunt. Your aunt practices all sorts of magic. No, I protested. His eyes made me gather my courage. I got to my feet. That's not true, I cried angrily. I've never seen Aunt Greta do any magic. You're lying, the snowman bobbed from side to side. The ledge sucked beneath me. I nearly lost my balance. I do not lie, Jason. He insisted, his arm raised up as he was pleading with me. I'm telling the truth. But, I stammered. Your mother did this to me, the snowman said. She used her magic to turn me into a snowman. You were 2 years old. She turned me into a snowman. She tried to turn me back, but she failed. Then she and your aunt Greta took you around away from the village. Your story doesn't make any sense, I cried. If what you're saying is true, then why move back here? Why did Aunt Greta bring us back to the village? Your aunt had a good reason for coming back, the snowman explained. She knows that after 10 years, the magic spell started to fade. I don't understand, I stammered. My heart felt frozen. It was hard to think. I struggled to make sense after what he was telling me. After 10 years, the spell fade, the snowman repeated. Your aunt came back to renew the spell. She wanted me to stay a snowman. She wants to keep me a prisoner up here forever. She wants to make sure I don't tell the world that I don't. She wants to make sure I don't tell the world what happened to me. She wants me to keep you to herself. And Greta is not a sorceress, I protested. I lived her most of my life. I never seen her do any sort of kind of magic. She doesn't. Please, the snowman bellowed, raising three branched arms to silence me. There isn't much time. I am your father, Jason. Your real father. You gotta believe me. But I didn't know what to say. I couldn't think straight. It's all too crazy. Can you can get me out of this? The snowman bellowed. You can save me, but you gotta hurry. Your aunt Greta will renew the spell soon. If you don't save me, I'll be a snowman for another 10 years. But what can I do? I cried. I'm not a sorceress. I can't do magic. What can I do? You can save me, the snowman creature insisted. I can tell you how, he uttered bitter sigh. If I told you how to save me, you'll only strengthen the spell. He continued. You gotta figure out for yourself. Huh? But how? I demanded. I could give you a hint, the snowman replied. I cannot tell you how to save me, but I can give you a hint. Okay, I said softly. I held myself more than tightly. I listened in his deep, rumble of a voice. The snowman reenacts the familiar rhyme. When the snowman blows wild, when the snow blows wild, and the days grow old, beware the snowman, my child, beware the snowman. He brings the cold. He stared back. I stared back at him as shocked. You know the poem, I stammered. That is your clue, the snowman said softly. That is the only hint I can give you. Now you must figure out how to rescue me. I already know how to rescue him. I knew instantly. He recited the old rhyme. The second verse. The secret had to be in the second verse. The verse I can remember. Please, Jason, the snowman gazed down at me, pleading. Please help me. I'm your father. Jason, I'm your real father. I stared back at him, trying to decide, so hard to decide. Should I believe him? Should I help him? Chapter 27. Yes, I decided. Yes, I'll run home and find the old poetry book. I'll read the second verse of the rhyme. I'm coming back. Sorry, wrong voice. I'm coming back. I called out to the snowman, spun away from him, and pulled out of his visible cold grasp. I tried to run away from the ledge and gasped when I nearly ran into Aunt Greta. Aunt Greta! I cried in shock. I tried to warn you, she called to me. I tried to scare you, Jason, keep you from coming up here. So it was Aunt Greta who whispered up my room last night. Was the one who warned me, beware the snowman. Her dark eyes were wild. Her normal pale face was bright red. Her long black coat was open and flapping behind her in the wind. She rose a large black book around over her head. Jason, is this what you're looking for? She demanded shrilly. The poetry book, I cried. The aunt nodded. She held the book above her head. And Greta, is that true? I asked, glancing back at the huge snowman. Is he really my father? My aunt's face twisted in surprise. Huh? Your father? She cried. What a lie. Is that what he told you? That he's your father? It's a lie, a horrible lie. No, the snowman boomed. I jumped, but Aunt Greta ignored the thunderous cry. It's a lie, Jason, she repeated, glancing at the glittering at the snowman. He isn't your father. He's an evil monster. No! The evil snowman bellowed. The snowman bellowed again. The whole mountain shook in protest. Your mother and father were sorcerers, and Greta continued to order him. They were practicing their magic night and day, but they went too far. They created him accidentally. And Greta pointed to the snowman, her face bitter. He's an evil monster, she repeated. There were gritted teeth. When your parents saw what they had done, they were horrified. They froze the monster inside the snowman's body. Soon after your father disappeared, your mother and I took you away from the village. We ran to be safe from the monster. Horrible evil. You are a liar! The snowman raged. He waved his thick arms wildly in the air. His scarf blew out his eyes. His hawk wings waved after the cold shot off his bulging body. Jason, don't believe her. Jason, don't believe her. The snowman pleaded. Save me, please. I'm your father. His arm reached out for me. Please, he begged. I know it's hard for you to believe, but your aunt is the evil one. She is the sorceress. She and your mother and I were all sorcerers. I'm not evil. I am not a monster. Please. Liar! Aunt Greta shrieked. She grabbed the book angrily in both of her hands as she ran to the row of him. I know no magic, Aunt Greta cried. I know no spells. I'm not a sorceress. She opened the book and began frankly shifting through the pages. I'm not a sorceress, but I brought this book because I know its secrets. I know what I need to do to make sure you stay frozen in that snowman body forever. The snowman continued to reach out to me. Jason, save me. Save me now, he pleaded. I turned back for him to my eye. Then back to him. Who should I believe? Which one should I tell which one's telling the truth? Suddenly I had an idea. Chapter 28. I grabbed the open poetry book from my aunt's hands. What are you doing? She shrieked. She moved quickly and wrestled away from me. We both tugged at it. The old page torn. It flew out. The heavy cover crackled. Aunt Greta made a desperate swipe at it, but I pulled away from her. Then I backed against the wall of the ice cave. Aunt Greta took a step toward me. Then she laid at the snowman and decided not to come close. Jason, you're making a huge mistake, Aunt Greta warned. Leaning against the smooth cave wall, I flipped frantically through the pages of the old book. I'm gonna find the poem, I told her. I'm gonna read it. The second verse is the only way to know the truth. Thank you, daughter, the snowman bellowed. Aunt Greta uttered a wail of protest. I'm telling you the truth, Jason, she cried. I have taken care of all these years. I will not lie to you. but I made up my mind. I had to read the second verse. It was the only way I can find out who was lying and who was telling the truth. He's a monster, Aunt Greta cried. The snowman stood still in silence, watching me, frantically shopping for the pages. Where's the rhyme? Where? I glanced up, and Greta, she bent down and picked up a torn page from the snow. As her eye moved over a page, a smile spread over her face. The wind blew her coat behind her. Her eyes were wild. The page fluttered in her hands. Jason, I can't let you read the rhyme, she said. You had it in your hands, I cried. I can't let you read it, Aunt Greta replied, and tossed the page over the ledge. Chapter 29. I let out a shriek. I watched the page float over the ledge. I watched it fly up and started to drop. It's lost, I realized. The second lost is lost forever. The whirlwind was carried down the mountain, down the steep drop. It would never be seen again. Then I cried out again as the wind carried the page back up, into my hands. I grabbed it out of the air and started to stare in amazement. And before Aunt Greta could grab it again, I raised the page to my face and started to read the second verse of the rhyme out loud. When the snow melts and the warm sun is with thee, beware the snowman. No! Aunt Greta wailed. She dove down towards me with a desperate swipe. She pulled the page from my hand, then ripped it to shreds. The snowman uttered a horrible groan as he bellowed. He reached out to grab Aunt Greta. It was too late. The jagged straps of the paper fluttered to the stone. Aunt Greta, why? I choked out. I couldn't let you do it, she replied. He's a monster, Jason. He's not your father. I couldn't let you set him free. She's lying, the snowman. She's lying, the snowman insisted. She does not want you to know me, Jason. She doesn't want me to know your own father. She wants me to leave me trapped in this frozen cave forever. I turned back to my aunt. Her face had grown stern and hard. She stared back at me coldly. I took a deep breath. Aunt Greta, I know the truth, I told her. I told you the truth, she insisted. I know it for myself, I replied. I saw the last line of the poem before you grabbed it and tore it up. I know the whole poem, Aunt Greta. Don't, my aunt pleaded, reaching out to me, but I backed up against the wall as it came full, and I recited the poem from memory. When the snow melts and the warm sun is with thee, beware the snowman, for the snowman shall go free. Sorry, probably horrible rhyme. No, Jason, no! And Greta wailed. She pressed her hands to the side of her face and replied her cry. No! I turned to the snowman. Saw him begin to melt. The white snow oozing down his face, body like melting ice cream. The black eyes dropped to the face. The face melted into a body. The snow poured off the round body. The tree branch's arm thudded to the heavy ground. Slowly his real face came into view. Slowly his body emerged from under the snow. I stared as the snow dropped away. Then I a of horror. Chapter 30. A monster! An ugly, snarling, red-skinned monster saw me out for the oozing snow. Aunt Greta had told the truth. Oozing snow, under the oozing snow. Aunt Greta was telling the truth. A monster was trapped inside. The snowman. Not my father. Not my father. A monster. Such a hideous monster. A head and a body were covered with crusty red scales. His yellow eyes wildly in a bullet-shaped head. A purple tongue flashed from his jagged tube mouth. No! And Greta chanted, still pressing out her hands against her face, tears running down her cheek and her face. What have I done? I wailed. The monster tossed back his head and throaty laugh. He picked up the poetry book off the snow in his scaly, three-fingered hands and heaved it over the side of the mountain. You're next, he roared at me. No, 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 please, I beg. I grabbed Aunt Greta by the shoulders and tugged her away from the ledge. We pressed ourselves against the icy wall of the cave. Goodbye, the monster grinned. Goodbye, all. But I saved you, I pleaded. Is that my is that my reward to be thrown over the side of the mountain? The red scale beast nodded, an ugly grin, vast, more jagged teeth. Yes, that is your reward. Your internal reward. Sorry, I wanted to put that in. Anyway, he picked me up in one powerful hand, squeezed my wrist, squeezed it so tight I couldn't breathe. He picked up Aunt Greta from the other hand, raised up against his head, let out an ugly, raspy groan. Roar. He just over the side of the mountain. Chapter 31. His powerful hands swung at us over the cliff edge. I peered down at the sheer drop at the snow ground as it appeared a mile below. To my surprise, the monster didn't let go. He swung round and round, dropped my arm at me, back on the ledge. Oh, I uttered a shell grass. The monster was staring down the ledge now. He stopped paying attention to and growled at me. I started to struggle to catch my breath. I turned and followed his gaze. He saw, then, and saw what had startled the monster and saved my life. A parade! A parade of snowmen. All the snowmen of the village. They were marching out to the ice cave in single line. Their red scarves waved in the wind. Their stick-like arms bobbed up and down as they rumbled up the mountainside. Like soldiers, they came up marching to us, bouncing, thudding, rumbling us forward, all identical, all scarred and stained face, and sneered. I don't believe it! I stammered at grasped Aunt Greta's arm. We stared at the marching snowmen in horror. They're all coming to serve the monster, Aunt Greta whispered. We're doomed, Jason. Doomed! Chapter 32. The snowman rumbled to the icy ledge. The sturdy thump, thump, thump grew louder as they neared the sound. It closed off the snowy mountaintop until it sounded like a 1,000 snowmen were marching and attacked us. Aunt Greta and I shrunk back against the wall. We had nowhere to run. The monster blocked the cave entrance. The marching snowman cut off any other entrance down the ledge. Came closer to the snowman. Closer enough to see the anger in their round black eyes. Closer enough to see their snake-like scar cutting into her face. Aunt Greta and I couldn't move. We raised our hand as we cheered ourselves. Then we gasped in surprise. The snowman marched right past us. We rumbled to the monster, bouncing fasting, stuttering over ice. Arms waved, dark eyes glowed, bouncing up to the start of the monster and pushing him back. The snowman crushed against him. One, the snowman, then two, then 10. We crashed against his scaly red body, pushing him back. Back! The monster tossed his head back in an angry roar. Roar! But the roar was smooth as the snowman rolled over his monster's head. Aunt Greta and I gasped in amazement as the snowman swarmed over the monster, pushing him back against the cave wall. We saw the monster powerful arm frail the air, flashing wildly, helplessly. Then the monster disappeared behind a current crush of the snowman. The snowman pushed forward, pushing harder, pushing silently, like a silent ambulance. Then we finally stepped back. The mountain stood frozen, arms stretched out as they were attacked, not moving, frozen inside the ice walls. A prisoner. The snowman had pushed him against the wall and trapped him inside the glassy wall of ice. Aunt Greta and I stood trembling behind the cave entrance. We stood holding on to each other. My legs were weak and rubbery. I could feel Aunt Greta trembling behind her coat. What brought all the snowmen up here? I asked her. Did you do it, Aunt Greta? She shook her head. Her eyes were still wide with amazement. I didn't bring her here, Jason, she said softly. I told you the truth. I had no magic. Your mother and father were sorcerers, but not me. Then who made them climb up the mountain to rescue us? I demanded. I did, a voice cried. Chapter 33. I turned to the ledge and saw Corin standing there, his gray hair blowing wildly in the wind. The white wolf standing at his side. You made the snowman march? I cried. You are a sorcerer too? Corin nodded. He gazed at the monster, trapped in the ice, and smile spread over his face. Yes, I sent him to rescue you, he said. And Greta narrowed her eyes at Corin. As she studied his face, her mouth wide open. You! And Greta, it's you! Corin smiled, breathing water. Yes, he told my aunt. He told my aunt. Who is he? I demanded. And Greta turned to me and placed a hand on my shoulder. Jason, she said softly. I moved back here because I thought he might still be here. Yes, I was right. He's still here. She squeezed my shoulder and smiled at me, tears welling in her eyes. Corin, it's your father, Aunt Greta whispered. Corin and I both cried out at the same time. He rushed across the icy ledge and wrapped me in a hug. His long, bearded, scaly face scratched my face as he pressed his cheeks against mine. I don't believe it, he cried, stepping back with tears inside. It's been so many years. I didn't recognize you, Jason. I'm so glad that Greta brought you back to the village. You're really my father? I stammered. Corin didn't have a chance to answer. Warren and Ellen came up running to us. Are you okay? They cried. Corin pointed Warren to Ellen. They saved your life, he told Aunt Greta and me. They told me you planned to climb the ice cave. As soon as I heard that, I worked on my magic and sent the snowman out to rescue you. Well, Ellen said, exclaimed, seeing the monster from the ice. Look at that! That was the evil snowman, Corin explained to them. He never threatened the village. He would never threaten the village again. Roland and Ellen stepped closer to view the frozen monster close up. I turned to my father. I don't understand, I said. Why did you stay behind in the village? When Mom and Aunt Greta left, why did you live up here near the ice cave? He scratched his beard and sighed. It's kind of a long story. When you were little, your mother and I were practicing powerful magic. Our magic got out of control. We accidentally created this monster. He motioned towards the monster. He shook his head. We froze the monster inside the body of a snowman. He explained. Your mother, she wanted to leave. She was too frightened and upset. She wanted to move far away from the village as she could. She wanted to forget it ever happened. What do you say? I demanded. I stayed because I thought I owed to the people of the village, he explained. I owed it to them that to keep the snowman in his cave, to keep him from harming people, he uttered under his eyes a sad sigh. So I stayed up here, close to the monster we created. But leaving you, Jason, was the hardest thing I ever have to do. He wrapped his arms around my shoulder again, his beard scratched my face. I always dreamed of you someday. I could leave the mountain and go find you, he said softly. And now the monster is dead. The horror is finally over. And Greta brought you back. Perhaps his voice broke. He smiled at Greta and then at me. He took a breath and tried again. Perhaps we can try being a family again? He kept his arms around me as he turned to go down the mountain. Hey, I cried as I saw the snowman moving. As I saw the block our paths. And all in excitement about my father, I completely forgot all about the snowman. Now they're circling us, surrounding us, staring at us with the glowing coal eyes, staring at us coldly. What are they gonna do? I stammered before my father could answer. One of the snowmen came thumping out of the group. He rumbled up, his arms twitching, eyes flashing. I grabbed Dan's arm. The snowman had us totally surrounded. Nowhere to move, no chance to run away. The snowman stood for inches from my father and opened his mouth to speak. Can we go back down now? The snowman asked. It's really cold up here. The end. Okay, so that was Goosebumps, Beware of the Snowman. I have to say, I only read like the Indian part. I only read the first few pages, but reading the whole way through felt like something I didn't be able to do. But the whole ending where the snowman said, "Can we go back down now? It's really cold up here." That was an interesting ending. I actually thought it was gonna be one of those Goosebumps twist endings where like, oh no, they're evil, but it turns out they're just like, no, we're just cool. We go down now. So it turns out the snowman can talk. And everything. Oh, but the big one talked earlier. Yeah, but the big one was not really a snowman. It's more of a monster that got turned into a snowman. Um. So yeah, that was Beware of the Snowman. I hope you like it. It was not easy for me to do because my back hurt all the way through. The things I do for love. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, if Bump in the Night or any of my co-stars are watching this, I hope you like it. It is a little hard to get through. It was a good book. It took 2 hours to read the whole thing. And yeah, if you want to hear more about Goosebumps or about books or Goosebumps in general, go watch Goosebumps podcast. It's about dead, something like that. Sorry, I just said it earlier, but I couldn't say. And yeah, and hopefully the next episode of that podcast will be released sometime. Um, yeah, and I'll link Bump in the Night channel in the description below if you want to see what his thoughts on the book were if he has a video about that. Anyway, see you guys later. Oh, also put in the comments which book you want me to read next from the Goosebumps series. So yeah. Anyway, see you guys later. Have a Merry Christmas. Bye.